Good morning. First one up of the day entitled Concrete Jungle. Ooh, I'm very drawn to this. What an interesting portrait of this gal in this outfit. Really draws my eyes into it. I like the way they did the lighting. It appears as though this is not on camera flash. And it's obvious there was a lot of thought that went into this photograph. Love the colors, love the flow. I mean, you can squint and see and barely see the photograph and see that the leading lines take you into the photograph and not out. I really like that. Now let's look at a couple of things that I would like to take a look at had I been there taking this and have the opportunity to say, okay, let's put the white gloves on and really take a look at what we can do to possibly make this a little more of an impactful or pleasing photograph. Number one, we have loss of details in the blacks down here. So that could have been solved several ways. Number one, prior to hitting the shutter. Number two, in post by going through and lightening or edging these black boots that we have loss of detail between the black boots and the black background. Number two, you don't really notice this. I'll zoom in on this, that she's got horns on until you really look at it. And the reason is you've got all this graffiti in the background all the way around her. So at first glance, it looks like she's got too much room from the top of her head to the top of the frame. But that's not accurate. She's got little, what I'm going to call devil horns on the top of her head. That as well should have been accentuated in some way, shape, or form. It would have been nice to have that in an area of different colored graffiti so that you don't have to take it out and it would show off these horns that much more. But you have to admit, at first glance, they're a little difficult to see. That is something you see second or third. If I have to be mega picky, I'm going to zoom in right here and say, all the other tassels are down. Why aren't those two? Not a huge deal, not a big deal at all, but I think I'd have pulled them down. And then the only other thing that I can think of that I think would have improved this, that in my opinion is probably the most important, is we don't have enough room, breathing room for the feet at the bottom of this piece. Her right foot is actually touching the bottom of the frame. I would have reframed this a little more like this to give it a little bit of breathing room there to actually frame her in the piece, not have her standing on the piece. I do have to say, I really, really am drawn to this photograph. I think it is lit very well. Yes, I see the little hot spots on her forehead from the lights, but that doesn't bother me too much. And the fact that she's got these little horns on her head, I think accentuates her face, especially with the symmetrical horns to the slightly hot spots on her forehead, to the way she's looking in her eyes, down to the dark makeup on her cheeks. I think it's done very well. It's not forced pose. It's a very unique pose. Doesn't look stiff. I like the way that she's got her leg cocked over to the side there. I actually really like this photograph. I see a few things that need to have attention to them to score this a little higher, but other than that, I really like it. All those things considered, composition 3 could have easily been a 4 had this been reframed. Not too far away from a 5, however. Impact is definitely a 4 and could have been a 5 with a change in lighting, possible additional lighting, direction, intensity and makeup, etc. Technical is fairly solid. There's just a couple of things there that I think you missed, so I'm going to call that a 4 as well. So we've got Concrete Jungle. I loved this image being submitted, by the way, at a total of 11 points.